Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of my YouTube channel. On this week's episode, we are going to be talking about appraisals and how that plays a role in the home buying process. So whenever you buy a home and you take out a loan to pay for the home, one of the processes, in addition to filing out all that paperwork, is the mortgage company will order an appraisal of the house. This is to protect the mortgage company's investment. They don't want to loan you money on a house for when it's not worth what you would be taking out the loan for. They want to make sure that they're not overpaying you the loan and that it's not a good investment, pretty much. So what they'll do is you go under contract for an agreed upon price with the sellers. You start the process of applying for the loan and everything, and the loan company will order an appraisal. Someone will go out there. These are folks who have gone through a ton of training and education. They are licensed through the state, not just someone off the street. There's someone who are very well qualified, and they'll go in and they will take a look at the house. They actually visit the house. They'll look at all of the updates, everything inside of the house, outside the house. They'll look at the surrounding neighborhood, and then they'll look at recent sales history and recent valuations for the neighborhood that it is in or the area around it. And they'll use all those factors then to come up with a final valued price for the home, their final appraisal for what the house is worth. And then if the number is good, then it's all fine and the loan can proceed. If the appraiser finds that the house is worth less than what you were paying for it, you have a couple options there. One is you and the sellers either agree to just lower the price altogether, or you try to split the difference. So maybe, let's say you offered $150,000 on a house, but the appraiser finds that it's only worth $140,000. Few options there. You can either appeal the appraisal, have a different appraisal done, another opinion pretty much, or maybe you can negotiate with the seller. Either just go down to $140,000, because here's the thing: if it's valued at $140,000 with that appraiser, more than likely they're going to keep on running into that problem. Even if they decide to back out of the contract with you, they're going to run into that issue in other areas or with other buyers, because it's probably going to be close to the same appraisal, so they probably just have to accept that lower price for the house. But there are some options. You might be able to pay cash for the house, and you might be able to pay, not for the house, but for the difference. You might be able to negotiate a cash agreement. Maybe you pay $5,000 and the seller agrees to just sell it essentially for $145,000 in that case, and you're just throwing an extra $5,000 at them. Or you can just try to negotiate the price down to $140,000 and move on from there. This is very rare for this to happen. Usually, if it's in the same ballpark, the appraisal will come back positive for you and it'll come back good and you won't have to worry about it. Occasionally it can be an issue, but by and large, usually if your realtor does their homework and if everyone is on the same page, it's usually not going to be a big issue. It's just another formality, but sometimes it can be. But that's why you want to work with a realtor, someone who knows the neighborhood, knows prices, knows the market, and can come up with a good price to begin with, so you avoid the situation altogether. And if you do run into it, you have someone backing you up who can help you negotiate through the finer points and get to the finish line in a smooth fashion. So I hope you learned a little bit something today about appraisals. They are complicated, there's a lot to it, but if you have a good realtor working with you, it doesn't have to be a nightmare. And if you ever have any more questions, please feel free to reach out. I hope you learned something this week. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Have a good one.